Acupuncture with dirty needles. Have you ever thought acupuncture might not be very safe? Or you wondered if you could find out more about acupuncture and find out if it's suitable for you? Well, this video is exactly what you need right now. My friend John here is here with me. I'm Stephen at Perfect Balance Clinic, and we'd love to be able to share with you some of the secrets of an Olympic standard, a world standard acupuncturist. So John, tell me a little bit about acupuncture. Is it safe to use acupuncture?
Absolutely safe. What you'll find is that acupuncture has been around for some 5,000 years. Now, 5,000 years ago, things were a little different. The general practitioners worked within a village setting, and each person in the village would have had their own set of needles.
That's interesting.
They'd have been stored in a bamboo cup, and when someone would have come for treatment, they would have taken the cup, used those needles, put them back, and they would only get used for those clients.
I can think of several problems with that straight away. Now,
Absolutely.
You're going to get some kind of infection off dirty needles because they're not been sterilised, for one.
That's true.
And they're kept in a bamboo cup. How clean is that?
Subject to the cleanliness of the clinic.
They've got
Probably
blood
like
on them, so that's a big problem.
Absolutely.
And the blood's probably going to grow things on it,
All
or
sorts of cultures.
contaminated cultures, bacteria is going to start to grow on that after a while. Big problem with acupuncture. Did people get infections back then?
The potential was there were some infections, but then they'd have used the needles to help clear those infections up.
Excellent. So John, what's changed about acupuncture over 5,000 years?
Well, over that time, the actual production of the needles has changed. The shaft of the needle is now surgical steel, and there's a variety of handles. Some are copper wound handles, some are aluminium wound handles, some are plastic injection molded onto the handle.
I love the sound of fuel injected
That's
needles.
what I do.
That would be fantastic. Fuel injected needles. But John, how's your bamboo cup going? You still using a bamboo cup to keep your needles in?
We've kind of moved on somewhat from the
Just a
bamboo
little
cup.
bit.
We might use bamboo cups for some cupping as a modality of Chinese medicine, but what's happened in the last 30 years, the needles have been developed to be disposable. So they're very fine needles. They're produced in a clean, sterile environment, individually packed or packed in tubes of 5 generally, and once used, they're put into a sharp bin, which is then incinerated, so there's no worries about cross-infection.
So you only use them once?
Only ever used.
Great.
Once.
And they're stored in a blister pack?
Blister packs.
Great. And you buy a packet from a recommended retailer?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
One of
clinical grade.
acupuncture supply companies will supply them to registered acupuncturists.
Yeah. And then you bin them afterwards?
And they get put in a sharps bin.
Fantastic.
The sharps bin is incinerated, so there's no worry about it.
So you probably don't know the exact stats of this, and it's a bit unfair to put you on the spot, but there's probably some stats out there which show the incidence of infection with sterile needles. I'm sure there are.
I'm sure there is, but I
don't
quite know what they
That's
are.
okay, no problem at all. But if you want to go and look that up, well, feel free to.
Yeah, give me a call, let me know.
But you'll probably find the incidence is very low.
Very low.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the risk of infection, do you wipe down the area before you stick needles in?
Generally not. You can. It's just moving the dirt around a little bit.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, most skin is quite clean. It's not sterile, but it's clean, provided the health hygiene of the individual is.
That's very interesting because there's mixed opinions about that, aren't there?
There is
So
indeed.
actually putting something on the skin and rubbing it around can actually introduce bacteria to the skin.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got to be very careful with that, because if the person isn't aware, then it could actually be just smearing bacteria around the skin, and then you insert the needle, you end up with a problem anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
So as little contact as possible is probably best in terms of inserting acupuncture.
And the modern needles also use a guide tube,
Tubes, yeah.
You can have less contact from a practitioner's hand.
Yeah, so these things come in guide tubes with often a plastic or a little plastic stopper in there.
Yeah.
So you remove the plastic stopper, pop the needle in, no air contact really until it enters into the skin.
And the needles are sterile until the packet's open, then they're clean, so there's no contact generally with the practitioner.
Brilliant. So it's actually a pretty safe mode of treatment.
Considering the amount of needles that are used on a daily basis, both in the environment of sports and health, but also within other areas of treatment.
So John, I guess it's really important to go to someone who's really well qualified to do this, because you wouldn't want to go to see someone that's inexperienced, who doesn't know all the things that you know.
No, it's good to have found somebody who's got the relevant training and had some experience in how to use both needles, cleans, needle protocols,
Brilliant.
and just general health and safety.
So John, if someone's looking for an acupuncturist, how would they go about looking for an acupuncturist? Not necessarily coming to us, but looking for an acupuncturist.
They would probably go to one of the organisations that are out there that register acupuncturists, the British Acupuncture Council, the British Acupuncture Federation, or one of the other bodies that are set up to help clarify training and standards of
so
practice.
You need to find a reputable acupuncturist if you're going to go and have acupuncture, just to make sure that there's no issues with contaminated needles, reused needles, in particular, because that's going to be quite high risk if you're going to someone that's not registered. But if you're going to someone that's registered, how would the process go when they first come to see you? What would they do?
Generally speaking, within a treatment, they will start to ask some questions. They potentially would know what your ailment is because they've discussed that on the phone. They will ask some questions about your general health and well-being, what's happening for you right now at that snapshot of today. They will then probably look at the tongue, so they'll be asking you to put the tongue out to have a look at that, and they'll take the pulse, which tells you something about the internal landscape.
Fantastic, good. Now I know we've had a little bit of fun with the needles today, but it's a very serious thing. So if you do need any advice, we'd love to speak to someone about whether acupuncture is right for you or the person you're seeing is particularly qualified. We can point you in the right direction, but leave your details in the box below, and we'd love to be able to help you out, point you in the right direction, just keep you nice and safe when it comes to good, healthy acupuncture.
Absolutely. The best thing to do is just check that your practitioner's got the relevant qualifications, so you're safe and your health is paramount.
Brilliant, fantastic. John, it's been great talking to you.
And yourself.
Take care, guys. See you later.
Bye now.